21 years ago, my family and I came out to Colorado Springs because my brother and his family were out here. My nephew had just been born. We'd never been out this way. As soon as we got to the east side of Colorado Springs and saw the amazing mountain views, we were hooked. But as we stayed here a little bit longer, we realized there was so much more to fall in love with. We loved the weather. It was much drier than it was in Illinois, where the humidity is much higher. There weren't any bugs. There were mosquitoes all over Illinois, and my brother offered me a job in construction. I was really excited about the opportunity, so it really was a no-brainer for our family to uproot, put our roots down here in Colorado. A lot's changed over 21 years, but there's still a lot of great things about Colorado Springs. There's also a few things that aren't so great. So today we bring you the updated version of our pros and cons of living in Colorado Springs list. Let's get started. Infrastructure. For those of you who followed the channel for any amount of time, you know that infrastructure is something that we harp on a lot, because it simply hasn't kept up with the growth here in Colorado Springs. The roads are crumbling, a lot of them are aged, and they're just not doing very well in incrementally changing them. They decide to do it all at once. We have over 160 bridges here in Colorado Springs, and they've decided to fix over half of them at one time. As the city grows, not just north and east, we have not done a very good job about expanding the roads and making sure that there are arteries to get that many people to and from where they're looking to go efficiently and safely. While they're trying, it's very difficult at this stage. A lot of people like to talk about the cost of living in Colorado Springs as a negative. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a negative. The cost of living in Colorado Springs is essentially the same as it is nationwide. Certainly we're not impervious to the effects of inflation, much like the rest of the country, but the cost of living itself in Colorado Springs is really no different than anywhere else in the country. Now, the cost of housing, that's where we get into a different conversation. So there's a difference between cost of living and cost of housing, and certainly the cost of housing in Colorado Springs has ballooned in a substantial way, specifically over the course of the last 10 to 12 years. As Colorado Springs continues to grow, you are starting to see more and more houses be more and more expensive. So there is a substantial difference between the cost of living and the cost of housing. Again, cost of housing has gone way up over the last 10 to 12 years, but cost of living is basically the same as it is nationwide. Things have gone up, but the cost of housing is what's making Colorado Springs less and less affordable for more and more people. So the next thing we want to talk about is very much a pro. Like I alluded to in the beginning of the video, the weather is beautiful. As you can see today, we are in mid-September right now. We are on the lake and it is absolutely gorgeous. It's a little bit drier here than it is just about anywhere else because we are a semi-arid climate. We're one step above a desert. And as I said, Illinois, a lot of humidity, a lot of bugs, and with the lack of humidity here in Colorado Springs comes much fewer bugs. Love everything about that. It's a mild climate for sure. Yeah, I have a tendency to complain when it's 90 degrees in the summer, but it's a different 90 degrees than it is where it's humid. That's for sure. So the low humidity is a big draw for a lot of people, and that weather makes outdoor opportunities abundant. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but the weather is absolutely gorgeous here in Colorado Springs and the surrounding area. That's definitely a pro. And while we're talking about the weather, let's talk about free things to do in that weather. You can see already paddleboarding, kayaking. Hikers are right up here. We have so many free things to do here in Colorado Springs and the surrounding area. Yeah, snowshoeing when it snows, unless you're Amber. Amber does not like snowshoes, more on that in a minute. But free things to do are abundant because we are very much a city that invites folks to enjoy the beautiful surroundings that Colorado Springs has to offer. So there's hiking, there's biking, there's kayaking, there's all sorts of trails, great free things to do, and so many opportunities because Colorado Springs weather is amazing. And then once you're done hiking and biking and kayaking and doing all those amazing things outside that are free here in Colorado Springs, you're gonna need something to eat. And that's where the mom and pop restaurants in this town deliver. We have great breweries, we have great restaurants, a lot of them with rooftop and patio opportunities to continue to enjoy the awesome weather that Colorado Springs has. So a lot of great local restaurants ranging from Mexican food all the way up to American bar food. You have some great pho, you have some great ramen. There are a lot of opportunities to support local businesses in the restaurant industry here in Colorado Springs, and that's one of the best parts about this. The food trucks are also amazing. So let's say you're going to a brewery to enjoy that sweet beverage after you've hiked all day, and the brewery itself may not have a restaurant, but they're inviting food trucks. I love the collaboration that breweries and food trucks have in our area because it just expands the opportunities that we get to enjoy as the consumer. The next thing on the pros list is absolutely the opportunities. Again, as I said, I had the opportunity to come out and join the workforce out here because there's so many opportunities when it comes to jobs. Yeah, I came out for construction, that's true, but the military has a big impact on the driving of that. So because we're in this area where there's so many military installations, we have a lot of opportunities for a lot of different jobs. And so people are drawn out here to enjoy those opportunities and see if there's something that they can do to expand their career field. And when we talk about the military installations, a lot of that has to do with people who are retired military, and then those opportunities are presented to them in the civilian world after they retire. Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, Boeing is another one. And because of that growth, the opportunity is also there for the healthcare industry. And of course, as we alluded to with breweries and restaurants, the service industry. There's so many opportunities based on the military presence here, and you will find that advantageous, absolutely. To all those opportunities that we were just talking about, absolutely allude to the fact that we are a thriving city. Because we're in this kind of a bubble with all the military, the Air Force Academy, and then Schriever and Pete and Fort Carson and Norcom and all those different things, Space Force, we are a thriving city. With all of that growth comes a lot of different opportunities for people to thrive. And so the Ford Amphitheater on the north end, we're expanding our horizons. And because of those opportunities, we're seeing a lot of thriving here in Colorado Springs. Yep, we have the Air Force Academy in Schriever and Peterson and Fort Carson. We have Norcom, we have Space Force, we have Cheyenne Mountain NORAD. So with all of that opportunity comes the opportunity to thrive as a city. And we're taking advantage of that. As we continue to grow, not only north, east, and south, there's a mountain range to the west, can't go that way too much, but we're seeing the Ford Amphitheater. We're having, as that growth comes, the Ford Amphitheater is a great venue for musical acts, and we're seeing some great growth because of that. People are coming to Colorado Springs, and that's helping other industries to thrive as well. Not just the service industry, but of course the hotels, Airbnbs, things of that nature. So as the growth comes to Colorado Springs, we are thriving on those opportunities. Speaking of growth, let's hop into that. Yeah, we have grown exponentially since 1991. If you look at the population curve in Colorado Springs since 1991, it's done nothing but go straight up. And again, a lot of that has to do with the military installations that are coming here, as well as all the opportunities. So as the opportunities come, so do the people. There are a lot of transplants here in Colorado Springs that have contributed to the growth. Now, are we growing effectively? That's up for debate. Like I said, the infrastructure has certainly not kept up. And our water supply has something to be desired as well, because we don't have a ton of water out here. Remember when I said we're a semi-arid climate? Yeah, not a ton of water out in Colorado Springs. So we have to be careful with growth, but hell or high water, we are on the move and population is going up. The last thing that I want to talk about actually ties into a few of the other things. Today, it's really hard to talk about this particular subject, but snow. When I tell people that we're in Colorado Springs and we love it, oh, you must get a lot of snow. Yeah, the answer to that is yes. Here pretty soon, those hills right over there are going to be white with powder, and that's awesome. But here at this elevation, because we're so close to the sun, yeah, we get some snow, but it melts off pretty quickly. Again, back to the weather conversation, it's very, very mild. So yeah, we have the cold days. I don't want to argue that, but we're not Arctic by any stretch of the imagination. The snow is beautiful, and it ties in with the fact, yep, you can go snowshoeing, and you have a great opportunity to go to some local ski areas and go down the hill. It's a lot of fun. So the snow is something that I absolutely love. So when I'm not out kayaking or biking, then yes, I am on the slopes, no question about it. Amber hates it. She says you can wear flip-flops year-round, so when she has to wear closed-toed shoes, she gets grumpy. So if you're thinking about moving to the Colorado Springs area, maybe you're already in the Colorado Springs area and you are feeling some of this pros and cons energy, feel free to reach out to the My Front Range Living team. Our information is in the description of the video below, as well as a link to our website. We'd love to hear from you and help you make Colorado Springs feel like home. And if you want to learn more about Colorado Springs and our amazing city, you can check out this playlist right here, and it's going to give you a ton of information about opportunities and things to do in our awesome city.